So can you tell us why is New York such an important part of the Revolutionary era?
Yeah, I mean, New York City looms large within the context of the Revolutionary era. For one, just think about this is where the nation's capital was initially. The Bill of Rights is written here. The oath of office taken by George Washington happened here. And so if you go back further, when George Washington was like 11 years old and his brother was a soldier for the British, there was also a rebellion against the grandfather of King George III. King George II was actually the plaintiff in a whole court case to figure out who were the rebels in his city, burning down his mansion, burning down different places in colonial New York City. And that happened in 1741. And if you look at the decades further out from that time period, you can see that New York City had this rebellious nature that was just waiting to explode. And so when you hear about July 9th, 1776, and how people had the Declaration of Independence read at our current City Hall location, they tore down a king statue. But they tore down a statue of the king who is the grandson of the king who also had his governor's mansion burned down by rebels. And so the rebels in New York have been here before 1760, before 1776, and by looking at that as a bookend, you can trace it all the way to the Birch Trials in 1783 that created the Book of Negroes when the British determined that those who fought with the Loyalists, with the British Army, would not be re-enslaved but go to Nova Scotia or some place of their choosing. This has the bookends. It has the beginning chapters, it has the final chapters. So New York City just needs to stand up and just claim more of its role in the American story and not just like cede that space off to other more popular destinations just because there's more information here. Add it to the conversation.
Where were those statues that were torn down? Where were they located?
Yeah, well, there was a statue of King George III on a horse in the middle of Bowling Green, which is New York City's oldest park. Right now there's a fountain there. And after having the Declaration of Independence read to the various brigades of the Continental Army, and it's also worth noting, the Declaration of Independence was, signed on the 4th, published on the 5th. It just got to New York. One of the first public readings, or the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence happened in New York that day on July 9th. And people got excited and went down to Bowling Green and tore down the equestrian statue of King George III. And part of that statue still is in the New York Historical Society in their collection, but it was melted down into musket balls. And so if you think about that act that happened in New York, it's just, and that's just one incident. There's more, but
Stay tuned for more.
stay tuned.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Very
it.
welcome.